Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Rising Frequencies. Today is February 3rd, 2021, and I am here with a very special guest, Mary Pat FitzGibbons. Welcome, Mary Pat. I have a very unique relationship with Mary Pat, and those of you that are my clients or my students, or even listen to any of my podcasts, I have mentioned Mary Pat and Emma Newman. They were teachers at the healing school that I attended. I've told people I attended an fully accredited, very fantastic healing school. And Mary Pat was one of my first teachers, and she influenced me in so many ways. I would not be doing what I'm doing right now. You wouldn't be hearing me talk if it wasn't for Mary Pat and Emma Newman of the Appalachian Institute of Awakening. I'm getting teary-eyed just even reminiscing. She is a fantastic healer, an amazing mentor and teacher. And then, I look up to her as she's one of my role models, and it's important for women to have female role models, and Mary Pat is definitely one of mine. And then she contacted me and then wanted to be my student to learn the 5 elements ritual. And I have to be honest, I was very nervous when I very first started teaching her, because she's my teacher. She's older than I am. She's more experienced than I am. And it felt weird. It felt really weird. We shifted roles, but then we kind of got into the swing of things, and then it went fabulous. So I'm going to let Mary Pat talk about her background, because she is not only a strong spiritual practitioner where she has studied in different traditions, but Mary Pat is also an RN, which helped me in my healing training, my physical healing training, because she wanted us to know the anatomy and physiology of not only the energy body, but also of the physical body. And Emma also pushed that on us as well. And, even though it was difficult and I wasn't quite sure why I needed to know all that, now that I am a healing practitioner, I have my own business, the information that I learned was invaluable. How essential oils work with different organs of the body, and how the etheric body and the astral body work with different organs, and knowing how the organs work. Now I'm able to help my clients at a level that I can't imagine that I'm here, doing this. And it's because of, Mary Pat and Emma Newman and the Institute, Appalachian Institute of Awakening. So welcome, Mary Pat. I'm so excited to have you here. Why don't you go ahead and start talking about yourself and give everybody your background?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Lisa. You are very flattering. I was getting a little teary here. And it's interesting, as we grow and develop, that we do need to switch roles from time to time, where I'm the teacher and you're the student, and then we switch. I'm the student and you're the teacher. Here, catch. Oh, and we have this journey together. But I think it has something to say with really maturity to be able to do that. I'm always a student. I've always been a seeker. Mm-hmm. So that I wanted to be a nurse when I was 5, as long as I can remember. And part of me thinks it's like, why on earth did you want to be a nurse? Oh my God. But at any rate, I did. I went to a 3-year nursing school, and I graduated. And while I was in school, my favorite subjects was hearts. I love hearts. I love heart patients. I love hearts. And the reason why I actually became a nurse, I wanted to become a stewardess, but my first job was in CCU, Coronary Care Unit at St. Mary's in Rochester, New York. And I just, it was a great job. It was a perfect fit. I was the nurse back in the early 70s that taught diet and exercise to all my patients. And everybody thought that I was nuts. There's no relationship between diet and exercise and being in these beds.
What year was that?
73. Oh my God, I'm telling you. So I actually ended up going to the Arizona Heart Institute. So I have a cardiovascular nurse specialist. I wished I had parlayed that it would be a nurse practitioner today, but I was off on doing other things, you know. So I really didn't go that route, but those were my beginnings. I have a lot of ICU coronary care experience, so intensive care. I did some management, some supervisory work, both in hospitals and nursing homes. I've done a lot of teaching, a lot of in service. Even had a little in service business in Syracuse for a while, you know, going around and doing nursing in services. Um, but one a very significant event that happened to me was I went to a cardiovascular conference. It was a critical care conference in Hawaii back in 78, I think. Any rate, because Hawaii is so far west that it's east, in addition to the fabulous cardiovascular information, it was wonderful. They also had their breakout rooms with the alternatives that they used. And I attended an energy healing class, acupuncture class, moxibustion class. And moxibustion is just using herbs over the acupuncture sites. And there was one other, I can't remember what it was. So I just know there were four. But I was like so taken that I actually ended up studying. I did some weekends on acupuncture in New York City, elected not to go that route. And then with the healing work, I started out in therapeutic touch. I went in 83, I went to a therapeutic touch workshop at New York University School of Nursing. And, you know, so I did that program when that was pretty early on. My babies got therapeutic touch and baby massage every night for the first year of their life. In 89, I was perusing the library shelves and Barbara Brennan's book, Hands of Light, fell off the shelf in my hands. I mean, you know, people say that and I'm like, no, that didn't happen. But, you know, this happened. I hadn't seen the book and I pulled it out. I read it that year. I read it the next year in 90. I moved to Harrisburg area. And during that process, I remember one time I was taking a nap with my baby, and I asked the kids. I said, "Can I see your lights?" And they go, "Oh yeah, mommy, you can see our lights." And as I'm drifting off to, you know, kind of like sleeping, all of a sudden I saw these yellow lights coming off my son's neck, and that was the first time I saw the aura. And I was like, "Oh," you know. I knew I wanted to go to her school, knew that, but it wasn't the right time. Ended up at that time, Healing Touch was being formed. So I ended up taking Healing Touch levels 1 and 2 in 92 at Duke University School of Nursing in North Carolina. I have completed that program. I was certified in 96 and I was certified as a teacher for them in 99. And I am still a practitioner and a teacher for them. Meanwhile, I do go to Barbara Brennan School and I graduated in 2020. And that's a 4-year full-time program studying the human energy system. And so that really kind of gave me like all my stuff. So I have followed a spiritual path. I got a bunch of different spiritual teachers, Lisa being one of them. Thank you. And this kind of, I've in my life, I've gone through the spiritual path and I've got this nursing path, as well as, the mundane things we do in life, like wash dishes and, do the laundry.
Yes. And now she is writing a book. And do you want to go on to your book?
Sure. So, one of the things I've wanted to do and wasn't really able to do is, kind of because of the nursing work, it's really hard sometimes to do the healing work as part of it. Although I will tell you, when I was in the clinicals and ICU, everyone got a healing session and everyone got a back rub. So, but now I have more time, and my goal is to come out in this format, as a teacher, as a healer, as a coach, and to bring this forward. And it's like, but where do you start? I mean, it's like, So I thought, one of the things that we really need is we need to have resilience. And it's like we've had a bad year. 2020 was a year for the books for sure.
Mhm.
But we all have our things. We may have grown up in an abusive home. We may have, we've had different interactions with people that can stop us. And so it's like, what is it we need to do to turn ourselves around? So I thought, you know what? I decided to create a little book on resilience. Like, what is it? Why do we need it? And some things we need to do to get us out of our hole, if you will, and bounce back, bounce forward. So
So
that's where that
what
comes
is
from.
resilience to you?
So resilience is, it's like when we've been knocked down,
Mhm.
um, run over, whatever the image is for you, is our ability to come back and to come back, strong, more full of ourselves, more in our power.
And so your book, how do you teach people resilience? Like if they buy your book, how will this be helpful to them?
Oh, good question. Good question. So, this is kind of like like an overview for people. It really, goes into like some of the stressors. So there's actually a Holmes Reiki scale of levels of stress, so people can actually go in and figure out how much stress they have. And I would encourage them to do that because it might stimulate you to go and I have to do something. So, if you have it's like over 100 points, you are at a higher risk for disease. So, one of the problems is that we get stressed here, the body takes it on, and we have a higher level of a chance of, some kind of illness, health event that we probably aren't going to like. So,
Yes.
right. So, the whole idea is like once you know that, you can say, oh, all right, what do I do to get myself back in balance? Which thank you. That's a really good thought. The whole idea is to get back into balance. And so I have several different techniques, that I include in that. And hopefully it could be a segue for someone, to work with me or someone else as far as healing work, as far as coaching, and looking at things that they can do to bring themselves back into balance so they can move on with life, their next step.
Right. And I'm going to take you back to my student days when I was in school with you. You taught us, and I teach all my clients this, but I don't explain it exactly the way you do. So I want you, if you can remember how you explain this topic, but you taught us that all illnesses, disease is when the body is dis-ease. It's not at ease. And all illnesses start out in the emotional body. It's all emotions. And then I don't can't, and I'm embarrassing myself in front of my teacher, but I can't remember all the levels of the energy field. But I know we have the mental body, the emotional body, the etheric body, and the astral body. And then it starts way out beyond the emotional body, but then it starts to come in through the aura and come in through the aura. And then eventually it comes in and then it centers into the body and then it adheres to the spinal column. And then it sits there. And then that's where it will form viruses and bacteria. And then well, I won't go into the healing
Yeah.
crisis, but we will go into that. But can you explain that the way you taught it to me?
Sure, sure. Actually, you have very good memory, very good memory.
Yeah.
So, so what we got like several different things. So we actually have 7 levels of the field that is associated with our current life. So the outermost level is the 7th level. It's the catheric field. It's a golden level of light. It's kind of the bubble that forms around us as we walk around on the earth plane for this lifetime. And there are others beyond this, but this is just for this lifetime. And interestingly, in the etheric level, right about the level of the eyes, are the things that we have come to work on in this lifetime so that we can see them. Now, it's not like you and I kind of walk around and we see everything, but it's there so that it will become apparent to us during our life. And then, it's like, if we want to move down to so we have the celestial, which is a fluid body, and that's our spiritual level. We have an etheric template. It's a mirror of the etheric body. So this is the fifth level. It's the template. So things can go wrong there if the template's out of alignment. That's going to go in and affect our body. It also, the etheric level, if you can imagine, the etheric body, the first level, are lines of light, blue lines of light or blue-gray lines of light. The etheric template is what holds that line of light in place. So it's the form that holds that line of light. So if either one of those are off, that can be a problem. And so energetically, there are things that I can do to repair the fifth level for people, and then therefore the first level. Then we move down to astral, and that's all relationships. It's the heart level. It's all relationships. It's all the heavens and hells. The 13 levels of heavens and hells that we can create and choose to play in or not, or heal. It's always an opportunity to heal. Then the third level, related to the third chakra, the solar plexus, is our mental level. If you can imagine yellow lines of light, and this is where all our mental processes are, good and bad, like all the thoughts that kind of run up. Below that is the emotional level. It's a fluid level. It's a nice bright colors, red, yellow, orange, and that's where all our emotions kind of float around. And levels, the mental and the emotional work hand in hand. We can have an emotion and bam, we got thoughts that go with it, or we have thoughts and all of a sudden we get the emotions. And when we have a series of anger that comes up and angry thoughts, or depression, like I'm no good, those things detrimentally come into the body and can settle into the different organs, or different, it's a setup for disease. So now I can't say if, person who's really angry, or a person who's really depressed, or is always going to have heart problems, because that may not be. It may be. I think it depends on what the family line and the genetics are. In my family, we have a lot of heart. So probably, stuff that's going to come in is going to affect me, my cardiovascular system, which also may include stroke, because that's part of the vascular system. Other people may get cancer, because that's what's in their family line. So a lot, this is where the energetics of this stuff kind of starts mixing in with the biology of different people. And boy, where did that come from?
I gotta remember that.
I know, me too.
I hope you don't forget this. We're recording. I have a question for you. So 2020 was a really bad year, and we have a lot of people that really never was dealing with anger before. All of a sudden now they have anger popping up in their body, or they never had anxiety, and now 2020 this emotion was in their aoric field. How long does it take for these negative emotions to enter into the organ, where now I have a physical problem?
So after a big traumatic event, it's about 2 years.
2 years. That is good news, because people watching this, this is why resilience is so important right now. Recovery from 2020, kind of getting used to COVID is here for now, and we have to tone down how we react to this, so it doesn't make us sick. And if it takes about 2 years, because I've had clients ask me that, and I couldn't remember, and then I would forget to write to you to ask you that question because I didn't want to answer, because I really couldn't remember, and I thought it would have been months. And I'm relieved to know that we have 2 years to deal with the stress and the trauma before it becomes a physical issue. And I have to throw in also, I'm going to segue a little bit temporarily.
Okay.
Now,
Mhm.
Mary Pat is an expert in chakra training. And I know a lot of people think, oh, why do I need to learn about chakras? But you know, if you're I guess if you're not a healer, or if you're not someone who is on the healing path, you probably don't need to know. But anyone who's on a spiritual path and you're on a healing path, you really need to know what each chakra, you know, what organ it corresponds with, and the emotions and so forth. And I teach a class on chakras, and it's very, very good. And the reason why it's so good is because of Mary Barrett, because here's how she taught us. And I wish I could teach people, you know, there's not enough people in my area that are interested in learning about chakras to give them the full experience of what you gave me. But she would start with one chakra, and we would study with her for, you know, a Saturday and Sunday, all day, both days, and literally only do two chakras in during that time period. So when we started with the root chakra, she decorated the whole room red. She had the chakra music playing with the correct notes. She had the essential oil that connected with that chakra. And then we actually did physical movement to activate that chakra, in addition to learning all the medical science about the organs and all the emotional things about that chakra, the positive and the good. And then she did a guided meditation with each chakra, which was flipping amazing. And that education, you know, once I had that, and I went into the book knowledge that because she gave us a whole bunch of handouts, lots of book knowledge, and I put those two together. It was amazing, and it really changed. I didn't really, it was fun for me at that time. I didn't really understand the full importance until I owned my own business. And I use it now with, I know we're not supposed to diagnose people, but you know, even on a Zoom call, you know, just by someone giving me their story, you have trained me so well that just by hearing their story, I know what the real issue is, because you always taught us that when you have a client coming in, this is true for me, even if I were, when I go to my healer, I know I'm giving her a story that she's just not listening to. She's going beyond what I'm saying to her, and I respect that. But every story you give to your healer, they're pretty much going to discount except for a couple little key words, and they're going to take those key words and go beyond that and go to your issue. And so I just wanted to kind of throw that out there with Mary Pat. She, you know, anyone wants to know, how do I know chakras so well? It's because of Mary Pat. But you know, this is one of the things, you know, that she, I'm sure, will bring to her book when, you know, talking about different traumas and things like that. And how to be resilient, because if people aren't resilient now in 2021, we're going to have a mental health pandemic,
Yeah.
and more of a major physical health pandemic that they may or may not blame on COVID. You know, there will people that will have physical problems that never even had COVID because of what we're talking about right now.
Right. Well, there's, you know, the media certainly has done a very good job of getting people all, you know, wired up. And, you know, it's like there's information that we need to know, but you know, you know, if you get caught in on, you know, I got to watch this news and I got to watch that. We were on a little vacation, and I had a friend who, you know, came, you know, visiting from Pennsylvania. They're down here for the winter, and every day he goes on and looks to see how many people
Oh,
got COVID in his county and how many people died. That is not a good practice. That is, you know, I think that we should hold people in, you know, our love and our daily prayer, you know, for the strength, but we do not need to be playing around in that. And I just, because that's gonna lower your vibration level significantly. And when we have a lower vibration, the viruses love that.
mhm.
They're going to come in. The you know, viruses, bacteria like the lower vibrations, the bad bacteria are going to just thrive. And so we need to be really careful. You know, the thing about the chakras is that, you know, the whole idea is that, you know, they're open and the energy's flowing, but the reality is for most of us, you know, there are times like when some are going to be closed down. you know, and others are going to be open, and that's kind of like how we go through life. Sometimes we have like our story that's imprinted on us, and we act in certain ways. And so, you know, I may be one, sometimes it goes with my fifth chakra closed, believe it or not. But you know, but if I'm in a conflict, I don't say anything. And so that's a piece that I have to work on. And so, you know, an easy way to do that is a very simple color meditation helps you open your chakras, so that the energy is flowing. And if do you mind? If we could just do a simple.
Oh no, please do that because you're so good at these.
So
These are the ones you did with me, and I love them so much.
right. Well, there's a lot of different things you can do, but simply you could breathe in the colors. So the color, first chakra, red, the color red, your favorite color red. You know, breathe in red, strawberry red, tomato red, and let it fill you. You can let that go. The second chakra, which is just below the belly button, is the sacral chakra, and it's orange. So start breathing in orange. Imagine your favorite color orange. It could be tangerine. Smell it. Breathe it in. All the way up and down. You can clear that. Third chakra, solar plexus, yellow, sunshine yellow, lemon yellow. Just imagine yellow and breathe that in. Fill your whole body with a sunny day or the smell of lemons. And release that. Fourth chakra, heart, is green. Breathe in the color green. Green grass, pine trees, green trees, your whatever color, breathe in green. Fill your whole body with green. And let it go. Fifth chakra, throat, is the color of the sky, blue sky. Breathe in a clear blue sky. Fill your whole body with blue sky. And let it go. Sixth chakra, right between the eyebrows. That color is indigo. It's the color of the night sky just after sunset. You got this delicious blue, black, purple, blue, black sky. Breathe that in, indigo. Fill your whole body with indigo. And let it go. And the seventh chakra, top of the head, the crown, is a violet white color. Breathe that violet white color in. Fill your whole body with violet white. And let it go. And take a minute and feel your feet on the floor. And take a deep breath and come back to this space and time.
That was amazing.
Yeah, you know, it's simple. It's that simple. The other thing, you know, that, you know, you want to think about it, many people who do know about chakras, you know, we're on the path of enlightenment, you know, and they talk about, like in the Bible, about who can break the seals on the scrolls. Mm-hmm. And everybody thinks that Jesus does it back then. You know, the thing is that the seven chakras, the seven scrolls are in us. And we're the ones, for enlightenment, we need to break the seal. And so the chakra meditation can help you do that. And also in your elements, you know, like when I'm doing the elements, as the element goddess is pouring in the nectar, you can imagine that filling that vertical power current, that central, you know, and it can get to the chakras from the back end. So you got like a double, you know, it's like, okay, you know, we're just going to kind of open this up, you know, for.
Yes, and that's a good point that I don't really include in my teaching because, you know, I can talk about it now. That is because the chakras aren't really included in the text, in the Tibetan text for what I teach. But and anyone who knows chakras knows that they're in their entrance and exit point. And this is true for Tibetan medicine. Chinese medicine is all along the central nervous system, the central channel, and the spinal column. So you're absolutely right. Every time, we go to a different element, it is working with different chakras. And in fact, with Tibetan medicine, with the 5 elements ritual, we deal with the 5 major organs of the body according to Eastern medicine. And that's why each element is connected to an organ, but also, which goes deeper into the Eastern medicine, each of those 5 organs is connected to 5 chakras that they go by. So I have the Western teaching of 7 chakras, and then I have the Eastern teaching of 5 chakras. And so I find it very interesting that in Tibetan medicine, they have the third eye is used for Dokchen, the great perfection to obtain rainbow body, but it's not considered one of the major chakras because it doesn't, their teaching is it doesn't open until someone, has obtained enlightenment. So they kind of include the third eye with the crown. Mm-hmm. And then the other ones are the same, except they have the secret chakra, which is the root chakra, which kind of combines our sacral with the root. So they don't have the sacral, which I find kind of interesting. So I bounce between using both,
Yeah, well, and it's interesting how, different people as they have evolved, have come up with these, these systems and how they overlap, so
yeah.
I, it's like when people ask me about energy, and they want to, the energy is the energy. And, so, Dr. Usui of Reiki brought in the energy in that particular way. The people from the Tibetan Bond brought the energy in the way they knew. Barbara Brennan brought it in the way she knew. Rosalind Briere brought it in the way she knew. Janet Mencken interpreted it her way. So it's interesting how there's many overlapping and there's some differences. And I don't really have an answer, but my guess is that if we actually got to the 30,000 foot view, we'd probably begin to see, how they overlap and how they really, intermingle and are all correct.
They are all correct. And they all, it doesn't matter what spiritual practice you do these days, as long as you're doing a spiritual practice. I always tell people, you need to find a lineage that you have a connection to, that you have a karmic connection to, which is really connected to your past lives. For me, I started out, as Western, and I started out with Christianity, and that was my foundation. And then I found, because I always knew I was supposed to be a minister. I always knew I was supposed to be a teacher from the time I was like 5 and 6 years old. And then my church wanted after I left the Baptist church, they and went to Lutheran, they wanted to send me to seminary to become a youth pastor, because they're like, you need to be a pastor, you need to be a spiritual teacher. And I almost jumped on it and decided, no, I'm going to be ordained, but this, I don't know why, but this is not it. Mm-hmm. And then now I am with Bond. But that's because I've been Eastern the majority of my past lives. Mm-hmm. So I've been Mongolian, I've been, from Nepal, I've been with Tibet, I've been in China, I've been in Japan. So that's why I am where I am. But, those teachings pretty much teach, how to become a compassionate person, how to be happy, how to be a genuine human being, how to obtain rainbow body. And that can be found in all traditions. Everyone has a piece of the puzzle. Just find one that you're karmically connected to and go for it and start. Exactly. Find a teacher and start studying. Exactly. And I want to segue, and if we don't get through everything we want to talk about, I already discussed this with Mary Pat, we will do a part 2. But this is something that when I was teaching you, I wanted to ask you this question, and we just never had enough time. But you did a meditation with us that just affected me almost as much as the first time I did the Bond meditation, which I did at Appalachian Institute of Awakening, because Emma brought in the bond teachers to our school. And that's where, you know, if it wasn't for the Appalachian Institute of Awakening and Mary Patton and Emma Newman, I wouldn't be a bond practitioner right now, because it was my school that gave me that start. They brought in the teachers. But she taught us this meditation where you would concentrate on one side of the heart and say, may I be free from suffering.
Oh, yes. Perhaps I love that one.
Yeah. What was
Okay.
the purpose of that? Because let me tell you, I mean, I just remember we did that. Remember the circle of wisdom we had, and then we had the couches in the circle,
Yeah.
and we would all meditate. I remember all of us, and it was like, it was a good sized class. We were all crying like babies. I mean, we were, and we just couldn't stop.
Mhm.
It opened me in a way that nothing else ever did. And I just feel like that prepared me for my path. So can you go
So,
into
right. So, I'm trying to think. I don't even remember where I got this meditation.
you were studying in Japan. You were studying with a
Yeah.
teacher in Japan at that time.
Right. But I don't think I got this from them. But it was like, so over the left breast, it would be, may I be free from suffering. May I be free from suffering. Because most of us are suffering much of the time. Over the solar plexus here, may I know the beauty of my own true self. May I know the beauty of my own true self. Right breast, may I be happy. May I be happy. High heart, may I be at peace. May I be at peace. And then I often will start a healing session that way. And then when I finish, I go, may I be at peace? Or if the client, may I be at peace? May I be at peace? May you be happy? May you be happy? May you know the beauty of your own true self. And that is so important. That's the peace we need. We've got to drop into the beauty of our own true self. And may I be free. Okay, and the reason is that once we can actually sink into the beauty of our own true self, and blossom from that, is then we won't be suffering. We will be happy. We will be at peace, and we will be free. I'm actually glad you brought that up, because as far as like the stress of all that's going on, we get caught up into what the world is saying and what the world is saying we should be. And, we've got like all these ideals, in order for me to be successful, I have to do A, B, and C. In order for me to be successful in relationship, I have to have the, C, D, and F. And sometimes we have no idea who we really are and what our role is. And I think that's one of the reasons why, like you and I have been able to successfully kind of switch roles a bit, and work side by side, is because you know who you are and I know who I am, and that but I'm not in competition with you.
No, not at all. And I'm not in
There's no
competition with you.
competition.
I know. I mean, you're my teacher. You're my elder. I can't imagine. Well, putting those aside, I have great respect for you. I
Thank you.
have great respect
Thank
for you. But putting that aside, I just don't compete with people at all.
Well, but that's you.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of the people that we work with, a lot of people that that we live with, everything's a competition. You have this and I don't.
Yes, the spiritual community. I had another teacher. My first Reiki teacher was Rhonda Schomper, and she's in my local area. You're familiar with her?
Yes, I am.
And she was my tarot card teacher. Boy, she's good. Tarot card reader. I talked about her. I did a show on tarot reading. She's amazing. And anyway, she busted my bubble. I had some private lessons with her, and she's like, Lisa, I just want you to understand the business that you're getting in. You're very naive. You're very innocent. She goes, there are more. I blush when I say this. She was just so blunt with me. There are more whores and prostitutes and criminals in the spiritual community that you'll find in any block of the city. She goes, and you need to realize this, and you need to toughen up, and you need to be ready for this competition, because they will eat you alive. Because and I still am. I'm still I have that naivety and innocence about me, and it has chewed me up and spit me out, because you know everyone wants to be a spiritual celebrity. Everybody's just so competitive, and I just, I guess I'm a little mouse. I don't know. I've just never. I'm not like that,
Mhm.
and I'm happy that I'm like that, because when you got a hold of me, I was, like, I have the mind of a child, and I still do. But, Mary Pat was the first teacher that taught me how to go into my heart, and she started with having us open up all these points. And I don't know if she remembers this, but, and I do a version of this with my clients. And she literally took us on a journey after we all were finished crying, and that's all we could handle one day. But then the next weekend, she had us open up, and we were stable. We were mentally stable. And then she took us on a journey into her heart. And it started out where you are at a party, and you have everything. Do you remember this?
No, I'm trying.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we were at a party, and you have everything and I'm going to go quick on it, because I do a really good guided meditation on this based on your teaching.
Uh-huh.
But you're at a party, and you have everything you need, all your food, all your relatives, all your happy, it's just beautiful decorations. And then you walk outside, and you notice that it's cold outside, and it's snowing, and you feel the
Oh,
snow.
yeah. Yes.
I just love this so much. And then you walk outside, and you smell the snow, and you feel the snow, and then you walk through the woods, and then you feel the woods, and you walk through the woods, and then you come to the ocean. And then you have, now this is where I change it a little bit, because then I have a bonfire for people. I forget exactly what you had,
I had
but
a
you had
fire.
this.
I had a
You had a
bonfire.
bonfire?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I just copied you. And then that's where you meet your guides and your protectors, and whoever you want to talk to.
Mhm.
And then I incorporate the 5 elements with that. And that's a way
Oh,
that I
nice.
teach people how to go into their heart to connect to the 5 elements, like people that are learning the 5 elements ritual. And then another technique, and I think it was you that taught me this, where if you have an issue with someone, you go into that sacred place. And this is
Mhm.
also connected to the inner refuge meditation, because the Tibetan meditation, in this meditation, I teach them the inner refuge meditation, and then I teach them this, and then I teach them how to bring in that famous person that you're mad at. And remember how you told us that you have them sit down, and you're above them, and then you talk, and then you say everything you want to say from the heart, and then you look over, and then there's this baggage. And you always told us how people have their bags over top of their shoulders, and it's
Mhm.
their weight. They have the weight of the world on them, and they want, the rocks and stuff. And you pick up that baggage, and you throw it into the fire, and you burn it. Do you remember
Mhm.
that?
Yep. Yep. So actually,
And
you know
you're
how
doing
that
storage.
meditation started was we used to have a family cottage on Lake Ontario, and
Oh,
we used to close the cottage on Thanksgiving weekend, and we'd open on Easter. But on this one particular Thanksgiving, we had probably 35 people
mhm.
there. I mean, it was just we had the two turkeys going, and we had the dining room table set up, and tables in the living room, and we had the fire in the fireplace, and we had a blast. And but on that particular Thanksgiving, my whole family wasn't there. Paul and Jerry had gone and done something, so it was Aaron and I. And we had gotten during the day, they had gotten the requisite Thanksgiving snow because it's on Lake Ontario and stuff like. So we got like 2 feet. And when I was leaving, I walked out, and snow blanketed everything. It was just it was just this like white blanket of snow. And I'm standing there, and it's silent, just totally silent. But I could hear the whoosh, whoosh from the lake, because the cottage is right on the lake.
Yeah, wow.
And so then, like walking out onto the lake as if you were stepping out into this whole new world. And that's where that
Mhm.
meditation came from. And I love that meditation.
I love that meditation, and
Thank
I
you.
and I've added a lot to it, but my
Thank you. Awesome.
my foundation is yours. and it's helped me a lot because, I use that. I still use that for my own spiritual progress. If I have an
Perfect.
issue with someone, I combine all the Tibetan tools that I teach from my lineage with what you taught me. And, and it really, really helps.
Wow,
It
thank
really,
you.
you're
I'm really
welcome. You're
honored.
welcome.
I'm really honored. But I
And
love that meditation. I
yeah,
just,
it has stuck with me so much. And I actually have on my YouTube channel, an early version I did of it. I recorded it in 2014. I don't know if it's still on there, but it's like Journey into the Heart of Gaia. So I use that as a base, but we actually went into the heart of the earth
mhm,
with this guided meditation. And
mhm.
it was really good. And I did it on the spot. I have no idea. I don't remember what I did. I'd have to go back and watch the video.
I know.
I think it's only voice. I think back then there was no Zoom at that time. I forget
Uh-huh.
what platform I was using, but I think it was only voice. We didn't have video at that time.
Right.
But, and I thought of you the whole time. And I did believe I did speak about you, as early,
Oh, thank you.
I'm always talking about you,
Wow.
always talking about you. But, I'm really excited to get back to, not only is she helping people with resilience and writing a book about resilience, but Mary Pat is a very knowledgeable healing touch practitioner, and she is going to be teaching classes on Zoom with healing touch. And so I have studied with her, so I am recommending all of my clients, anyone who watches this show, to go and find Mary Pat and sign up for these classes, because if they help you half as much as they helped me, it truly is life changing. I still do healing touch on myself. I do healing touch on my clients. I still, when I can see them in person, I haven't done that. I haven't had my table out for a year now. But and I still have up here on my shelf every single handout that you gave me, every single one on
Wow.
healing touch, and yeah, absolutely. And and I have referred back to them
Uh-huh.
when I was seeing clients in person. I would refer back to them. Especially where we had to put the hands on the different places and the corresponding with the organs and with the
Mhm,
chakras and things like
mhm.
that. Sometimes, and depending on the issue, might change the treatment. And I would go back and refer to my notes for different clients, and I would be, wait a minute, I need to check something. And I would go back to
Well,
my textbooks that you did.
yeah, Janet Menken, who's the founder of Healing Touch, wanted Healing Touch in every hospital, every school, every home.
Mhm.
And
As it
it's
should
like
be.
every sentient being, it can be a recipient of Healing Touch.
Yes.
And it's relatively simple. Yeah, there's some things you got to learn, but just the intent to send love and healing energy can make a profound difference on yourself and on your friends and family.
Very much. And I just want to throw out one simple thing that people can do that she taught us, and that she can go deeper into this teaching, because she is the teacher of this, not me. But she taught us how to picture your fingers. And I always pictured, like, I forget which movie this was from that I pictured, but you picture that you have these light swords coming out from the fingertips, and they extend out really, really far. And then you take them through the body, all from the head all the way down, and then you shake it out at the end. And and you can kind of just do this to yourself and just clean the gunk out of you. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so that would be a magnetic clearing, from the Healing Touch. And yes, so that's a full body technique. That can be, like a once and done is probably not the right word, but I mean, that's a full body. That could be the whole healing session. Anybody can do this. So the idea would be that you would extend your energy fingers so that as you're going over the whole person, it goes all the way through all the levels of the field. And you imagine it like a magnetic rake, so that as you're going, you're collecting debris of whatever flavor it happens to be. You start at the head, above the head, and you go all the way through the body in one motion until you get below the feet, and then you can let that all that energy go. And you keep doing it until the energy field is clear. So you know, logistically, you probably have to go from side to side on the person. So
Mhm.
an easy way to do it's 5 on one side, 5 on the other side, 5, so it's centered, and you get so at least you get 30 passes a minimum, for that person. It's great. It's great for anesthesia. Someone who's been just had surgery. It's a really good thing to help clear out the anesthesia. It's good for like any kind of um, removing drugs, cigarette smoke, that kind of stuff that breathe that doesn't serve us. It's good for things people who are receiving like chemotherapy or radiation. So we want in people with cancer and are receiving chemotherapy, the whole idea is the drug goes in and gets the cells that need to go, kill them, and then let's get the rest of that stuff out of the system, so
Mhm.
that now we can raise the vibration of the system. So speaking of that, chemo lowers the vibration of the whole system. I mean, the whole idea is to kill the cancer cells, but in the process, it lowers the vibration of the human system. Doing energy healing and this particular technique, the magnetic clearing, raises the vibration of the body again. So it's a nice marriage between the two. Any systemic disease. So someone has arthritis, someone has um, just any systemic, diabetes, high
Mhm.
blood pressure, any systemic thing, that they can be served by this. There's a lot more, but it's a relatively simple thing, and everybody can do it. So it's just you know, sometimes when people are like really, maybe triggered, have like a lot of emotional stuff going on, this is a great way to just kind of like clear out things so they can begin to think straight.
Yes, absolutely. And that really stuck with me.
Mhm.
And that's one of the standard things when someone comes to see me, even if it's just for reflexology. I do a magnetic. I
Right.
couldn't remember the name, but
Magnetic clearing.
I
And
do
it's a level
magnetic.
one healing touch, level one
Mhm.
technique. So if they study with me, they will get that.
Yes. And that's just a little taste. And so you can definitely see how good of a teacher Mary Fine is. So I want to share some of your graphs that you have for us, and so you can teach off of those.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's go with this one first.
So I have read a number of the books by David Hawkins, and he's an interesting gentleman. But he, through some big periods of enlightenment, had actually understands like all the different emotions that people can have, and he has calibrated the energy level of these emotions. So, and this is a chart from his book, Power versus Force. We start off at the low number. Shame, it has a level of 20, all the way up to full enlightenment, which is between 700 and 1,000. Jesus, Buddha would be at 1,000.
So wait a
So,
minute. I have a question, and I think you already said it, but I'm not. What do the numbers represent? Is that the level of vibration?
yeah, level of vibration.
Oh.
So the thing is, the reason why that bottom half is in yellow and it's under force is that most people on the earth are below 200.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a problem, and you can see pride, anger, desire, fear. Look at fear in the 2020, for heaven's sakes. So those are very low vibrations, and every time we fall into them, our vibration level falls. And it's it stalls us on our enlightenment path. It sets us up for illness. That's one of the reasons why I'm writing this little book on resilience, is like, how can I help people get above 200? How can I help people get to courage and above? Actually, love and higher is my goal. How can I help you get up there? And it's not saying that, if we are living from, love and joy, that, anger may come up, as I mean, that's, but what do we do with that? It's like, that's information for us. It's like, oh, what's going on here? What do I need to look at? As opposed to, oh, boy, that, yeah, 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 yeah. It's like, and we can go off, and that stuff just lowers your vibration. And it's a
Yes.
setup for illness. It's a setup for an unhappy life. And um, so like, on the other one, I had somebody do that, just so that you could see, that when we are, like in guilt, in grief, in fear, in anger, those are very constricted. So, yes, anger can be dynamic, we can be arguing and stuff, but it is a constricted, low level energy for them. And we don't have any room there. It's like, every time we move up that scale, courage is more spacious than pride. Willingness is more spacious. It's like just being open to being willing. So even if you can't do something, if you could be open to the willingness to be open, is, huge, because that adds the spaciousness. Now there's movement. Now change can happen. So
Wow. Now, I have a question.
yeah.
When you taught us in school, because you were also one of my essential oils teachers, and we were taught the vibratory rate of each oil, and and how to raise your vibration with the oils. If someone uses essential oils, let's say rose is, I think
Very
vibrates
high.
very, very, it's the highest vibratory oil, and I think it's upwards of 1,000, which is where Buddhahood is.
Mhm.
So if someone uses rose oil, they can raise their vibration to the level of enlightenment without achieving enlightenment. But I mean, it only lasts for the amount of time that the oil is in the body. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, but
they,
at least it begins to open you,
yeah,
and you begin to get a sniplet
right.
of what could be possible.
Are you going to incorporate oils in with Healing Touch?
Um, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. I use the oils personally every day, but I haven't. I'm not. I don't know. I have to think about that. I'll have
Yeah,
to think
think
about.
about
There
that.
is actually a whole um, program that's part of the Healing Touch program that uses the oils.
You might want to think about how you can,
Right.
incorporate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I use the oils every day. I had gotten away from them for a little while. They were just kind of sitting on my shelf. And then with 22 just being so difficult, especially the summer, I think the summer of 2020 was just the hardest summer for everybody. I got my oils back, and now, I put them on 3 times a day. As soon as I get out of the shower, I set at my altar to do my spiritual practice. It begins with my essential oils.
Uh-huh.
And then
Perfect.
normally at
Perfect.
night I'm using valerian, to calm the monkey
Perfect.
mind and the central nervous system and all that. And just
Perfect.
thank gosh I have that education,
Right.
because you guys taught us aroma medicine. We weren't allowed to say that,
Right.
but that's what we
It's what it is. It's what
that's
it
what it
is.
is. It is
Yeah.
aroma medicine, and that's what we were taught. So
Mhm.
how are you going to, because with me studying with you for all those years in person, how are you going to teach Healing Touch on Zoom?
Well, now that's an interesting thing. It's a good thing that you asked. So, actually, 2 weekends ago, I was a helper for another teacher for a Zoom class for Healing Touch.
Mhm.
So, some of the really adventurous teachers last summer started teaching online, and now they've asked us to be a helper. And so I've done that. So now I will start going out and teaching. So, what she did was she paired each student up with an experienced Healing Touch practitioner, either a practitioner or instructor.
Mhm.
And we actually did um, like you and me, or we're talking right now. We did a lot of things, like if we were in my open classroom. we would practice on doing that, like checking out, assessing the energy field,
Mhm.
just like I did in class, like feeling the heads and shoulders and, that kind of stuff. And very interesting, so like most of us Westerners have no concept of stuff that's outside of, regular 3D time and space. Yeah, I can feel this,
Mhm.
I can't feel you, but
Mhm.
everybody had sensations. Everybody that correlated with what their partner was feeling. And so it was, this has been a great opportunity to open people up to, you don't have to be present. Are
No.
there certain nice ambiance things about being present?
Yes.
Absolutely. But, through the ethers, there's no time or space in the level of prayer or energy healing. And so, it's, so we had the class just as if we were in person, and that's what I will do. And
That is fantastic. And and I think people are starting to learn, the power of Zoom, how you can feel the energy through it. Because
mhm,
I do the 5 elements ritual to people all over the world through Zoom, and they feel it. They have physical reactions days afterwards, and you don't have to be in the same room. And when I study with Tepa Lama and Geshe Gaelic, and they give me transmissions, you know, traditionally transmissions have only been given to from student to teacher in person, and they actually started with the going through the bamboo, where it was the teachings were so secretive that they didn't want the negative energies to hear what was being transferred. So that's where transmissions came from, and then you always had to be in the presence of your teacher. Well, with COVID, that hasn't been possible, and Temple wasn't so sure that he was going to do teachings on Zoom, and he wasn't really sure about doing transmissions, and then I just kind of said, but there is no space and time with energy,
right.
and he's taught me that too. And then now he's teaching on Zoom, and I receive transmissions from them. It's like my COVID has not slowed down my training at all,
Great.
because it is exactly the same as I am sitting in the room. I am in the temple. And
Mhm.
instantly my whole room, when I'm with Tempa, my whole room or Geshe-la is a Tibetan sanctuary. And then it's just amazing. COVID brought a lot of bad things to us, but I think it also brought us some new beginnings, and
Exactly.
being able to reach more people through healing practices, all over the world. It has opened up a whole new realm of possibilities. And there was something else I wanted to touch on. Um, it left me. It, it,
Oh
it,
well.
it left me. So how does someone sign up to study with you?
So I have so my email is marypat@marypatfitzgibbons.com. So that's a good way to reach me. My website is https semicolon dash dash marypatfitzgibbons.com. That's a good way to do that. But that's probably the two best ways right now. And when I put out the video from this, I can include that right there so people can see that, so they
Yeah,
can they can they can reach that.
we
Um,
will definitely have that included. And then they can write to you, and then you can send them more information, as far as like when the classes start and what's
right,
the limit, and tuition and whatnot.
all that kind of stuff. The other place they can look is, Healing Touch program is, where the class schedule will be up once it gets scheduled. So if they reach me, I will let them know, and that's another place they can go for that.
Very good. Well, I think we're going to end it right here,
Mhm.
but I do want to have a part two, because Mary Pat, has studied the 5 elements with me. So I would like to have her back on, maybe towards the end of February, so that, or in early March, so she can talk about, and I'm kind of interested in this, because this is one thing, we didn't really get to discuss, but I want to know how she is going to incorporate, what she has learned from my 5 elements training into what she's doing for a living, and how it's working out for her personal life and her personal growth and her journey and so forth. I think that would be an interesting conversation to have.
Mhm. Me too.
And and then maybe, by the end of February or early in March, maybe you might even have more information about your classes, and your book might be
Right.
farther along, and we can go back and give
Talk
people
about that.
updates
Perfect.
on that information as well. So
Perfect.
thank you so much for coming
you.
today, and I look forward to our next discussion. And Mary Pat may also have a YouTube channel. When she does have a YouTube channel, you also want to click subscribe for her YouTube channel, so she knows how many people she's reaching, and just give her a little shout out. And if you're watching this on Rising Frequencies, if you want to click subscribe to my channel, that would be wonderful. I'll also have all of my information, how you can contact me for my classes. I am starting group classes right now. I'm going to be teaching the 5 elements ritual to group classes, and I'm thinking about, I love teaching essential oils, and I haven't taught that for a while. So I'm also thinking about, bringing back the Appalachian Institute of Awakening, my education on essential oils, and have a class on that as well. That's, besides the 5 elements, I would have to say essential oils. I love teaching the chakras, but I think, besides 5 elements, teaching essential oils, because we learn so much science behind the oils. I just love teaching them. It's just so much fun, especially the expression on people's faces when they had no idea. I was like, oh my gosh, the brain works like that. And I'm like, yeah, it really does. It's pretty cool.
Well, and the nice thing about the essential oils, it's here. It's in a bottle. You can put it on. You can,
Mhm.
the chakras is still a little out there. You have to, while you have that, it's more subtle. It's more
Yes.
subtle, and so the essential oils, it can be very, very practical. There's something's
Yes.
going on. You cut yourself, you put purification on.
Yes.
You want to protect yourself. You put RC and thieves on your mask.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, it's just like really
Yes.
practical stuff that you can
Practical
use
stuff.
every
I
day.
put thieves on my feet every single morning.
Perfect.
And then I smell it. And then I use rosemary, because it helps me to wake up and be more alert.
Oh yeah, that part.
I know that part, And I have a real quick story before we end about essential oils, and just because it's just something that's practical. It's very easy to use. It's easy to raise your vibration when you're in a bad spot. Reach for that oil, and it is a quick fix. Is it permanent? No, but it gets you on your way, and it'll get you out of the darkness. Sometimes when a meditation might not even work. Sometimes you need a bridge to even get yourself in front of and on your meditation cushion. Some frankincense or some myrrh, or even joy can just lift you up enough that, okay, now I can go meditate.
Yes, exactly.
But I back in the days when we could go to restaurants here where I live, where it was safe to go to restaurants, I was out with some girlfriends, and I made them a little essential oil samples, and then I had some samples from Young Living that I was giving to them. And the waitress came through, and she's like, what? She was a regular waitress, because we were there like once a month, so it was like a girls thing, and she knew the group. She's like, what do you have there? I said, oh, they're essential oils. That's all I was going to say, because you just don't know with people how much you can share. And she goes, oh, I've heard about those. I believe in them. I believe in that. And I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I said, well, this is medical science, and this is physical. I said, this isn't anything that will go in the woo-woo category. I said, they come from plants. If you believe in plants, and if you believe plants heal the body, the essential oils work the same way. And that's all I said. I didn't go into the full science. I said, it's just physical science. Your belief doesn't make them work. You put them on your body and they work. You cut yourself, you put a Band-Aid, it works. You cut yourself, you put myrrh on it, it works. And she's like, oh, wow, that's really interesting. So I gave her some samples. I had some extras.
Oh, that was sweet.
Yeah,
I
so
made a nice impact that day.
I did, absolutely. All right, Mary Pat, thank you so much. And thank you everybody for joining us. And we will see you again real soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.